Today I would like to share with you guys my most anticipated books for this last quarter of 2024, which is just crazy to think that we've even gotten here in the last bit of the year. So these are going to be books that I am looking forward to that are going to be published in October, November, and December. There might be like one that is actually being published here in September that I can't remember if I talked about before in another video. I think it just became on my radar, so I did want to mention that one. I'm just going to go through a list that I have on my Goodreads, and so I'll try and link that list down below so you can easily add it to your Goodreads and check out, you know, all the details and the synopsises. But let's go ahead and get started. I feel like this list is always all over the place according to Goodreads. I don't know if they just don't update the publishing correctly, but I'm gonna try and go just by what Goodreads is telling me. So the first book I want to talk about is actually going to be published September 10th, which is that today? Yeah, that's today. This is a horror novel called William by Mason Coyle, and it's all about how this guy creates this like AI robot, and then the robot goes like rogue. So it's supposed to be, I think, a horror book about AI going rogue, and I don't know why, like any type of sci-fi that going wrong is always intriguing to me. I remember the Disney Channel movie where it was like that smart house went crazy. I loved that movie. I thought it was so good. So this kind of reminds me of that, and I am very intrigued because I love any type of AI sci-fi robot type stuff in books, and then also having that horror element. Feel like it's gonna be good. Okay, now the next publishing date is October 1st. There is The Boyfriend by Freida McFadden. I know that some people love Freida McFadden, some people absolutely don't like her. They say that she's copied some things. I haven't read a whole bunch of her, but there have been books that I loved from her. Like I actually was a big fan of The Housemaid, but then there have been ones that I've read of hers that I didn't love that much, but I'm intrigued by this one, so I'm definitely going to read it. I like that her books are very fast, to the point thrillers. Like you can easily pick them up and read them within a day or two. They just really pull you in and are very entertaining, and I like that. So this one says, Sydney Shaw, like every single woman in New York, has terrible luck with dating. She's seen it. Men who lie in their dating profile, men who stick her with the dinner bill, and worst of all, men who can't shut up about their mothers. But finally she hits the jackpot. Her new boyfriend is utterly perfect. He's charming, handsome, he works as a doctor. Then the brutal murder of a young woman, the latest in a string of deaths across the coasts. And I guess this guy is the primary suspect. So I'm excited. Sounds just like a fun time for reading in the fall. The next book that's also published on October 1st is actually something called Heartbreak Hill. So not a thriller. I believe that this is a romance or kind of like women's fiction. Intensely affecting romance about love, loss, and second chances. Sure to elicit a good ugly cry. So Grayson sees the glass half empty. Born with a life-threatening heart defect, he's been living on borrowed time. That already sounds really good. The uncertainty of tomorrow makes him push people away, helping Grayson to avoid any real commitment. And then he meets Reed and falls madly in love. The two work together at this place, and then Grayson collapses at a basketball game. Reed learns he's been keeping secrets from her. Now his life hangs in the balance, and a stranger from Boston holds the key to his survival. And then it looks like there's like another storyline. Nadia makes a life-changing decision after her husband Rafi is involved in a tragic accident near Harvard Square. There seems to be kind of a lot going on in this book, but I do love romances that are supposed to be like heartbreaking, that really deal with loss or, you know, things happening in your life. I'm intrigued. I actually also think I have that one on NetGalley, so I will get to read that one. Okay, then we have a nonfiction, because you guys know I love nonfiction. This one's on October the 8th. It's called The Plan, Manage Your Time Like a Lazy Genius. So this is by the author Kendra Adachi, and I loved her books, The Lazy Genius Way, and there was another one, like The Lazy Genius Kitchen or something. The Lazy Genius Kitchen was like a 3-star. That one was okay, but that's because I do like a lot of cooking, so I already knew a lot of the tips that she shared. But the actual Lazy Genius Way book that she wrote, I love that book. It's 5 stars. I actually want to reread it in the future just because it had so many tips that there's no way that I could remember all of them, but they were really good. And so this one is, I think, about how to like manage your time. I also just got the notification that I was able to get this on NetGalley, so I'm approved for this and I'm super excited. This is a time management book for productivity-wary people who want to live an easier life, not do more homework. That sounds right up my alley. The title of it, PLAN, is supposed to be an acronym for Prepare, Live, Adjust, and Notice, like a lazy genius. So excited for that. Then on October 8th, we have The Last One at the Wedding, and this is by Jason 𝒏𝒂𝒛𝒐𝒏 I don't know how to say that name. I actually read his other book that was like 2 summers ago. It was the one that had like the drawings in it. I actually really loved a lot of that book, but then I was kind of upset with the ending. So I think I gave it like a 3 or 3.5, but I am excited to read this one. So this one says Hidden Pictures. That's the name of it, Hidden Pictures. That was the first one I read. So this is, Frank is shocked when his daughter, Maggie, calls him for the first time in 3 years. He was convinced that their estrangement would become permanent. He's even more surprised when she invites him to her upcoming wedding in New Hampshire. Frank is ecstatic. He arrives to find that the wedding is at a private estate, very secluded, luxurious. It seems that Maggie failed to mention that she's marrying Aiden, the son of a famous tech billionaire. Feeling desperately out of place, Frank focuses on reconnecting with Maggie and getting to know her new family, but it's difficult. Aiden is withdrawn and evasive. Maggie doesn't seem to have time for him, and he finds that the locals are disturbingly hostile. Frank needs to know more about this family his daughter is marrying into, but if he pushes too hard, he could lose Maggie forever. Okay. It says edge of your seat thriller. That actually sounds really good, so very excited for that one. Now on October the 10th, we have Jodi Picoult's new book, By Any Other Name. Why do I feel like this is wrong? Because I feel like there's people in my Patreon right now reading this from the library, so this is probably already published. I don't know what I'm talking about, but anyway, I'm still excited for this. Just don't pay attention to the date I just said. I'm excited for this because I do like a lot of Jodi's books, but at the same time, this particular title and like the synopsis of it, nothing about it screams that I would like it, but I feel like that happens a lot with Jodi's books where the synopsis doesn't really give you anything. It doesn't really make you want to read it. It's very vague, which I do kind of appreciate, but then at the same time, I always ask my friend Lena to be like, can you summarize this without like spoilers? Tell me if I should read it or not. And so I actually haven't heard anybody really talk about this yet, as in I don't know if it's going to be something I like to read, but I believe it does have a lot about like Shakespeare and plays, and that's something I'm not super excited about. And I think it's told by like a couple different timelines, and one is like in 1581. I like have this on my most anticipated list because if people are raving about it, I'm definitely gonna read it. I felt that way about Mad Honey, where I didn't really have any intention of like why I would want to pick it up and read it, because I was like, I'm not someone that loves bees. Like, I mean, yes, I love honey and stuff, but I was like, bees? Why would I want to read about bees? But then like the story was so good and I ended up really liking that book and I thought it was done really well. So like that could be like this because it's Jodi Picoult. If you guys have read it, please let me know. Because I'm not gonna actually pick it up until I hear back from people. Another book on October the 10th, according to this, I believe I might have seen either Aardvark already have this, or maybe it was book of the month, I can't remember. The Hitchcock Hotel by Stephanie Roble, which I think I've read a book by her before, and then I think I also have books on my list that I've been wanting to read from her. This says, Alfred Smedel is not your average Hitchcock fan. He is the founder, owner, and manager of the Hitchcock Hotel, a sprawling Victoria house in the White Mountains dedicated to the master of suspense. There, Alfred offers his guests around-the-clock film screenings, movie props, and memorabilia in every room. To celebrate the hotel's first anniversary, he invites his former best friends from his college film club for a reunion. He hasn't spoken to any of them in 16 years, not after what happened, but who better than them to appreciate Alfred's creation and to help him finish it? After all, no Hitchcock set is complete without a body. So I think this is a horror-ish book. That's funny, it says expected publication September 24th. I feel like all these publication dates are probably wrong that I just told you, so just look up the titles, I guess, because I'm bad at this. But I feel like I haven't read like a creepy haunted house book in a while, and that's what this sounds like. And so it does sound something like I want to pick up and read this fall. fall. Okay, we have one more book that it says it's gonna be published November 12th, but again, that could be totally wrong. And it's called The Sunflower House by Adriana Allegri. This is, I think, a historical fiction. It says, family secrets come to light as a young woman fights to save herself and others in a Nazi-run baby factory, a real-life Handmaid's Tale during World War II. Normally, I am someone that would say like, absolutely not. I'm not gonna read like a war book or a book like about war because that's not something that really sounds exciting to me. But the actual premise of this book sounds really good. So I'm actually gonna give it a try. I can't remember. I think I might have this on NetGalley actually. And now like reading more into it, I'm like, wow, why have I not read this yet? It says, in a sleepy German village, Alina Strauss's life seems idyllic. She works at her uncle's bookshop, makes strudel with her aunt, and spends weekends with her friends and fiance. But it's 1939, Adolf Hitler is chancellor, and Alina's family hides a terrifying secret. Her birth mother was Jewish, making her a Mischling. One fateful night, after losing everyone she loves, Alina is forced into service as a nurse at a state-run baby factory called Hochland Home. There she becomes both witness and participant to the horrors of Heinrich Himmler's ruthless eugenics program. Wow, there's more of this synopsis, but like that sounds really, really good. And so I can't wait to read it. And it has really good ratings so far. It's at a 4.65. I need that right now. All right, so that's it. Those are the 8 books that I am excited for over this fall and kind of the beginning of winter. I didn't really have anything in December, I don't think, that I was anticipating, but I definitely know that there's going to be books already in January, February, March that I've been like looking at, so can't wait to make like the following year's most anticipated videos. I would love to know what books you guys are anticipating for this fall because I might have missed out. I'm not as great at keeping up with everything, and so if there's something that you're excited for, definitely drop it in a comment so that way I can look it up and see if it's something that I want to read too. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in another video soon.